What up, everybody?
We're just used to you starting it off.
No, this is the Unapologetic Podcast. Sorry about the little hiccup in the middle. Oh, I'm not sorry about the little hiccup.
We're not apologizing.
That's right.
This nigga started apologizing.
Right.
My bad. First of all, I want to say sorry. This is my sorry for 2004. Thanks,
First of all, I want to say sorry about this Unapologetic Podcast. Now, I'm Jarreau, also of the Barstool Podcast with Jarreau.
I'm William, Mr. Born Winner.
Patrice DeVoe.
Benny Pitts, a.k.a. Lil Daddy, a.k.a. Lil Nasty, a.k.a. father to the unborn child.
And our...
Okay. Well, this week, our topic is about conflict. And what is conflict? Is it a bad thing? We have a lot of information on conflict this week as the Unapologetic Podcast in itself. We had some house internal issues and things like that. And when you bring in a bunch of people together who are from all walks of life, who have different backgrounds, it's only natural that you're going to have conflict. But conflict in life is just, you know what I'm saying, something that everyone's going to have to be a part of. And it's just about how is it that you handle conflict? How do we handle conflict? People had a lot of conflict between Chick-fil-A and Popeye's chicken sandwiches. Right. I mean, there's conflict in every part of life. So I think that's kind of like where our theme is. We just gonna go from there.
I like the thing you had said. It said something like, I'm paraphrasing, but something like conflict ain't necessarily a bad thing. Right. And that's, man, you think about a motherfucker that went through their whole life with no conflict. They end up being kind of weak, like in a lot of ways. Like the first time they do face some adversity, they don't know what the fuck to do. You know what I'm saying? But a person that's not saying that every day should be a fight, but at least somebody that's had to deal with that shit. At least,
give me the breakthrough, nigga. I'm tired of. I've been fighting my whole goddamn life, nigga. I'm 5'1" already. I think I want to wear this B2K outfit, but I got the Millennium Tour was over 10 years ago, nigga. Like
they came back.
I feel where you're coming from, Jarreau. Like conflict is good for character.
Yeah.
After a while, black people, we done went through so much. How much character do we need?
I'm just saying.
I'm in this bitch dressed like a different character.
I'm saying whether you have no conflict from today on, that's another thing. But I'm saying you need some, especially as you coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like now we got helicopter parents. That's what they call them. Parents that hover over their kids and don't let them go through anything. You know what I'm saying? Like. Because it's natural as a parent, you want to protect your kids from all the stuff that hurts you. You know what I'm saying? But shit, you know what I mean? Like you gotta go through something.
So conflict is good for character.
I think so.
And everything, even with a team. You remember when Shaq and Kobe, they hated each other, but they love playing with each other. It hasn't been a duo like Shaq and Kobe.
Nigga, that was a horrible analogy. Think
about that. That's why I apologize, nigga. Since we saying sorry, my bad.
Think about this, though. Think about how conflict has been used over the years to sell us stuff. Tupac and Biggie. You know what I'm saying? They create conflict just to be able to sell albums. Like
Lil'
rappers
Kim,
have
Foxy
done that.
Brown.
Rappers, I mean, you're a rapper.
Rappers
have done that.
You dressed like one today.
From Thug the Clown dropping this fall.
And we got artist Lord Nasty in the building with us. You know all about.
Listen, this is not my interview, dog.
But conflict is a marketing strategy.
It is.
Some of those shows, whether it's contrived or not, whether it's those reality shows, they thrive because it's conflict involved.
We was just talking about that. The writing of that is always, we're gonna meet up at the bar. I invited her out for a drink since we ain't been getting along, or I tried to get them to sit down and talk about this. Right. Like motherfucker. You did it because it's in the script.
But plus, I saw, piggyback off of yours about the character, I saw a meme on social media that said a straight road does not create skilled drivers. You know what I'm saying? Which simply means that if you've been just driving a straight path, everything been easy for you. You can't really build character. You know what I'm saying? You don't become a skilled driver till you had to handle some curves and some woods and some.
Do you think conflict and confrontation are the same thing? Because I don't.
I mean, it can be, but
confrontation is conflict.
You like confrontation? Just asking. Do you like confrontation?
It depends.
No, I'm not.
It depends. I don't necessarily dislike confrontation. Yeah, but it needs to make sense. Like it has to make sense. Yeah. But when I think about conflict, I just feel like that's just two opposing ideas or maybe energies, and so. When I think about I don't think because we have a conflict that we have to have a confrontation, if that makes sense.
Okay, I agree with that.
But I don't. Yeah, sometimes confrontation is cool because if you think about even boxing, they don't always dislike each other, and they get in the ring and pummel the shit out of one another. You know what I'm saying? Like it has nothing to, like that. That's a confront. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a confrontation without even really having a conflict. But we don't have a conflict, but
I feel like conflict produces confrontation, and I feel like the confrontation is necessary if you want to get past the conflict.
Well, I guess that's where communication comes in.
Yeah,
it depends on what the
but sometimes when you have two conflicting people, you know, and they confront each other, sometimes that becomes a confrontation. So even in communication, you're going to deal with some kind of confrontation. You got to confront one another to communicate the differences.
So you feel like they're the same thing, conflict?
No, I'm not saying they're the same thing. Definitely not the same thing. Conflict is conflict. It's two different things. Confrontation is the two people in my opinion, coming together over the conflict to discuss.
Confrontation is I'm coming to beat your ass.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Why does confrontation sound negative? But it's not necessarily. When you explain it the way you just said it, that's not negative. But when you think confrontation, first thing you think is like some negative shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody screaming and hollering, somebody getting into it. That's the first.
I just go back to where I kept saying, like you said, a straight and narrow path doesn't make good drivers. And do y'all think conflict builds character? Like, people that have been through the most usually are the most successful, or people that have been through some type of background or something. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My mom was on drugs. It don't have to be that. Let me just say, you know what I'm saying? Grew up poor or whatever it could be. You know, usually grow up to be something. You know, then a privilege. I heard somebody say that on an interview the other day. Was like, I don't want my kids to be so spoiled that they're out of touch with reality. I'm gonna spoil them. And they used Whitney Houston's daughter as a example. There was like, she was so Beverly Hills, that's all she knew.
Yeah.
Like, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
Well, how do y'all
so a little ruffle of the feathers a little bit.
If you take her out of Beverly Hills into a step down from that, she would be completely destroyed. Is that what they were trying to say?
Oh, damn.
Anything outside of this bubble she was living in, she couldn't do it.
What do y'all think about the conflict between Paul Mooney and Richard Pryor?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, I just had to ask. Jarreau was so heartbroken yesterday.
That nigga said, how was the relationship with Paul and Richard? He said, well, at that time, it kind of fizzled because Paul fucked Richard's son. I was waiting on a commercial break. I was waiting.
He's like, they didn't call out about some money.
There wasn't no introduction.
This nigga stepped on my brand new Gators and they say sorry. He fucked his son. Yeah, that's
and he said it so matter of fact. He was like, when he fucked Richard's son.
He said he had to fuck Richard's son several times in the back seat of a Toyota Prius. I said, God damn. It wasn't even a comfortable fuck.
But I didn't like when I had talked to you about it, you had said, because he said on there he did it when he was a little boy, and then you told me he was a little bit older.
Yeah, I did some recon,
So that added a little comfort to it.
What kind of conflict is this? I've been knew Paul Mooney was gay. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
No, but I mean that shit was imagine, like, and the dude is still walking. Like you said, he's trying to do comedy.
I met him at Blue Martini.
But imagine
he don't need that out there.
Imagine you and this person have worked together for so long. Y'all have done great things together. Y'all have worked and created some great comedic moments. Like they were like peanut butter and jelly. So you don't let the you know what I'm saying, like. we never knew about this until then. Like, if you knew, I guess. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? The simple fact that he didn't confront him the way he wanted to confront him. What they say, he tried to put out a hit on.
Yeah, but he said when he caught on fire, he said when Richard caught on fire, that's the only reason Paul Mooney's still living. That's what he said on there. Like, damn, dog.
Damn.
Well, I mean, the telephone still work. You can't put out a hit from the bedside. I feel like you got even more time to get that shit done if you really want to. What made he changed his...
Yeah, he said the focus shifted to, I got to get this shit under control.
Right.
Whereas before that, it was all about...
getting revenge or whatever.
Dead. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and then you getting caught on fire. That's like life threatening. So you probably be like, let me not take his life. You know what I'm saying?
Might have a come to Jesus moment or something like that.
I won't say it all.
But it's like you were saying, like, it ain't all about the gayness of it. It's like, man, I wouldn't expect none of y'all. I wouldn't expect none of y'all to fuck with my daughter or son. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it don't matter. Like, if we folks,
Paul Mooney watch now. Paul Mooney gonna go to jail. Look at that. They getting everybody. Paul Mooney out here just fucking little boys.
No, he was grown. He was grown.
Stop saying that.
So that means Richard Pryor son had a boyfriend. That's what it is.
Right, yeah,
pretty much.
Nigga, them niggas went together.
Because that's what, when she said 24, I was like, oh, so he didn't get raped then. Because I was thinking he raped him.
Now that's some conflict.
Yeah.
So I guess that goes into conflict of interest.
I guess the hit was the confirmation.
Oh my God.
What was the hit?
The confrontation? Oh man, he out his mic.
Technical difficulties. Okay, we back on.
Because all right, well, if you think about conflict and confrontation, NWA, they were a group. Let's go back to the group setting, because again, like, we had some stuff behind the scenes that y'all might get a chance to see. Furniture was moving and shit. Benny almost got thrown off of a balcony for coming out his face crazy. I left the group for like 12 hours.
My business hours are only Monday. Okay, Big Red, finish your story.
9 to 5.
It's 9 to 5.
No, but so NWA, Ice Cube, this was a group. They were doing well. Now they got contracts coming their way. Ice Cube was smart enough to read his paperwork, have somebody also who knows law read his paperwork, and he came back and told the group, like, hey, I'm not about signing this. I don't think y'all should sign it either. And the rest is kind of like history. Like, the entire group well, I ain't gonna say the entire group disbanded, but that was the kind of one of the falls of NWA.
Yeah.
Whereas where is the ego in that? I guess because that was one of the main things that what I sent y'all was talking about, ego and conflict.
Yeah.
Had NWA, whether it was Eazy-E or whoever, taken their ego out of the equation and said, maybe Cube is right, or you know what I'm saying, like, had a way to communicate and confront each other outside of No Vaseline and the other one. But you know what I'm saying, like,
the other one.
Yeah, sorry. But I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, would their story have been different? Would their story have been different if they could have handled conflict
I don't know
differently?
how much ego it was for Eazy-E, because his truth wasn't their truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was doing all right.
Right.
He had a better deal than the rest of
it. It all comes to
from what it
a
seemed
point.
like.
Whenever you're dealing with a group, you have to know you have to work with others. Your ego you have to keep your ego in check. You know what I'm saying? I know what you mean. You saying they could have took what they had going on, like the legacy, a bit further if they would just,
maybe we'll never know.
But think about it, when cats are making millions and you got fans and you're getting idolized, a lot of people. Tomorrow, boom, Patrice, you are Tiffany Haddish tomorrow.
No, and hell no.
You are Patrice DeVoe. Listen to what I'm saying.
You somebody else.
Ready. Tomorrow, you ready.
No disrespect, girl, but no.
Hear what I'm saying. Tomorrow, you have her star power, but you still in the crew with us, and we expecting you to be, you know what I'm saying, do the same things, and then you like, no, bitch, I'm Patrice. You know what I'm saying? Fame hits you different, and fame is gonna, you know what I'm saying. A lot of people know how to deal with it. A lot of people, Ice Cube, when I see Ice Cube, he act the same way he did 20 years ago.
I was gonna say, because their issue wasn't about fame.
No, but I'm saying, but your ego gets there. You're making more money now. You know, you're more open to more things. You're getting attention from everything and everybody. So how you will handle certain situations is going to be different. So sometimes when you're up and coming, you can be like, hey, respect my opinion. Now you like, man, if y'all respect my opinion, fuck y'all. If y'all don't, fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? You're like that now, but imagine if you at the status of Tiffany Haddish tomorrow. It's going to be different. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be, so you're playing with people that does have egos, young men too, that's millionaires, and then had kind of like, it's hard for them to come together and put their ego to the side. Am I making sense?
Which guys?
Yeah, I see.
Which ones?
Any of them. Anybody in a rap group. Think about how many groups really last once they hit mainstream, once they hit that pinnacle or that ceiling. Not a lot.
No.
Not a lot. Name me one rap group right now.
New Edition, they were together
now
since
they BB&B,
elementary
BB
school.
and something.
And somehow they were, you know what I'm saying, they had to have
Their
growing
egos
pains as well.
Right. Migos still together, right?
Migos still together, you know.
That's a group.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But what's that?
So I think it boils down to the art of communication.
Yeah.
You know, if the four of us were all in a position to get some kind of contract and somebody read it and came back with that same type of news, I just feel like it's a way it could be communicated. Even if three of us said, no, Patrice, like, we want to sign. And you can say, okay, well, do you know that you're not going to have this and you're not going to have that? And then it'll start resonating. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I feel like if egos get involved too soon, you know, you can say, oh, no, y'all shouldn't do it. I ain't doing it. Y'all shouldn't do it. That's not enough information.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, give us enough information so we can make an educated decision.
Okay,
you know
and then with enough information, if you all still decide, well, we like the way, you know what I'm saying, like, we don't want to mess up this wave right here. And somebody says, okay, fine, peace and blessings to you, and they go their own way, how is it that they end up being the bad guy? Like, oh, you broke up the group. Like,
well, because they do become the bad guy. Because they didn't have enough. So like, one of the things I'm big on nowadays in relationship is making sure I communicate. And in communication and in relationship, it's all about just not quitting. Like, nothing ever fails. It's people that quit. So if somebody walks away, that means they quit. They gave up on trying to make it work. You get what I'm saying?
All right, check this out. Like, 112, in my opinion, is one of the greatest R&B. 112.
Absolutely, 112.
56.
I'm joking.
But now, they're split. There's only two of them now.
Slim and somebody else.
Slim and Mike. And sitting in there watching them in the interview, they didn't go detail like, you know, you fuck Paul Mooney's son and nothing like that. They didn't go into detail like that.
No Vaseline.
They didn't go into that kind of detail, but they basically said they're not with the, like, about the spiritual side of things. And they kind of took it as like a what's that, like, spiritual, like, you know, like a way of looking at things that's almost, I don't know if it's religious or what, but they just pointed out that was a problem, and that's why they split up the group.
Oh, it was things.
Huh?
Oh, it was like conflict as far as with their religious beliefs,
yeah,
sort of like
as far as how spiritual. They don't want to be out there portraying themselves too much of a sexual way, which to me, I'm like, you 112. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But we could take it anywhere.
Like,
I'm sorry.
you're not a gospel group, so I don't understand the problem. But I could see, obviously, whatever that was, made them go their separate ways, all off in the middle of a tour and everything. They just did an album. And it's one of my favorite albums of theirs, the one they just put out.
Right.
And now they went separate ways because of this issue. There's not necessarily a bad guy there. These two guys believe this way. These two guys believe this way. Who's the bad guy?
Whoever quit. Somebody had to quit for whatever reason. They quit for religious reasons, for moral. Whoever quit is the bad guy.
Wait, did they quit or did they get put out the group? How do you?
Somebody quit. Who said that we can't do this no more? Somebody who said I got religiously, I can't do the nasty shit.
No, the ones with the religious beliefs are the ones that's still there.
So who?
They don't believe. Man, Mike and Slim was sitting on the interview and they was basically saying they believe, you know, they trying to keep a certain image basically, and it's a more cleaner image, and the other two don't believe it that way, so they went their separate ways. But it's like, I don't see a bad guy there. I see two guys that's like, man.
I understand what he's saying. He's like, it's not a bad guy.
We need more to that story. That story is incomplete.
I understand what both of y'all saying. William was like, whoever was like, hey, I can't do this no more, boom, you're the bad guy. Which, in a sense, not so much the bad guy. People grow. People evolve. People say, hey, this is not me no more. People change. You can't really say they're a bad guy.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're
bad guy to the
bad
situation.
person, but they're the bad guy in that relationship. They're the ones that quit.
Look, if I'm saying, look, bro, I don't want to be like how you want to be, but we can still do this thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you saying, nah, we got to do it like this, and I'm like, man, what do you want me to do after that? How am I the bad guy? I'm saying we can still do this. So, but I don't want to do it like you do it.
I guess it depends on the context, because that can't be used for all things. Okay, say a chick is getting her ass beat in her marriage, and she finally decide that she has had enough.
Bitch, you the bad guy. That's the T-shirt.
And she filed for divorce. She quit.
And she did.
Well, sometimes you gotta quit on these niggas. That's all I can say. Sometimes you gotta quit on these niggas.
She got at least one more answer.
William gonna put out a T-shirt, bitch, you the bad guy. That's the T-shirt of the day.
No, I mean, there's circumstances that call for quitting where quitting is acceptable. You know what I'm saying?
You can't really
what I'm saying is on a if it's a positive situation.
You're talking about on a business relationship.
Period. In a relationship,
man,
in a business relationship, like I feel like at some point, if like I just don't feel like nothing fair.
How much conflict should you take? How much conflict should you know? We're like, okay, this ain't working.
Right.
It's just too much going on.
Conflict will never stop. Even in life, we go through conflict.
Yeah. Yin and
it
yang.
never stops. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
but
always one thing after another. One thing after another.
I see what you're saying. How much should you take from one situation?
Sometimes, in certain situations, you be like, okay, conflicts never stop. But sometimes in certain situations, you be like, I don't quite think this is for me.
There's nothing wrong with backing out. I mean, that's on you. I mean,
well, you just said that's the bad guy.
I just said you're the bad person because you quit. But I mean, it's not necessarily say you're a bad person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like, so who's the reason it's over?
Who's the bad guy? Richard Pryor's son or Paul Mooney? Who's the bad guy?
The
fuck? Because the son didn't quit.
Man, I don't know enough about that situation to comment, but I know
if a chick leave you because you stopped the meals, is she the bad guy or you the bad guy for stopping the meals?
I'm the bad guy.
For every
I'm gonna stop the
action,
meals.
there's an equal and opposite reaction.
There you go.
Right.
In every group or every organization is going to be conflict. I'm with you 100% there. But you gotta know and still a sense: is this conflict worth what I'm going through to get to where I'm trying to go?
I'm gonna speak like this from a person who was once married.
Okay.
All right. So I'm technically in a contract.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And we both decided that we wanted to go our separate ways.
Okay.
Somebody decided
You know
first.
what I'm saying? So like, somebody decided
Who was
first.
that? Like it was him. You the bad guy, wasn't it?
I'm not the bad guy,
No, you was the bad guy in that situation.
You know what I'm saying? It kind of warranted. I wasn't always. We live and we learn.
Right.
You know what niggas got to do? We live.
Just like 112, he just turned religious on us.
No, but seriously, like if you're in a marriage and you decide, look, this ain't for us. When you decided it wasn't for you, you were already at a place of conflict. Mm-hmm. It's just that you got to the point where you say, I can't deal with this conflict no more. You know what I'm saying? So we all deal with conflict in relationship situations, but we all have a tolerance level of how much of this conflict I'm willing to take.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You ever heard the saying that if your marriage, however long your marriage lasts, if it ends, if you cut that number in half, that's when it started.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. You ever heard that?
I've never heard
you
that.
do what?
So if your marriage was 10 years and it ended at 10 years, y'all was probably divorcing somewhere around year 5. Y'all was actually breaking up somewhere around year 5, but you stayed in it, an extra.
What about a one night stand? How do you divide that?
You don't, nigga.
I should have fucked her 3 hours ago.
Nigga, if you met her at 8 o'clock at night,
I should have fucked her at 11.
He's just trying to find a way to skip the meals again.
No, I feel like this. Patrice, too.
Statistic.
I'm not gonna bring all this. I feel like because I've never been married. In a sense, you look at me like I don't know what commitment is.
No, who I do?
In a sense.
No, I don't.
Because all of y'all been. I don't know if you've been married, right?
Don't ask me no personal questions like that on this damn podcast.
Police.
Don't try to. First of all, you don't
This
get
is
to
conflict.
decide. Right. First of all, you don't even get to decide and say, I feel like this is how you feel.
Hey,
Nigga, ask me how I feel. This is why we had the conflict that we
10 years
had.
from now, this nigga gonna be on Comedy Hype, and then Patrice fuck Benny.
He will never. He will never say that. And if he do, he's a liar, and the truth ain't in him.
Okay, I feel like this because I've never been in a long committed relationship. In a sense, y'all kind of look at it like Benny don't really know what commitment is.
That's not true. How do you get that?
Man, I don't know your life, man. I mean,
I think that might be a complex you have, man.
It really is.
That
And
might be
this
a
is where
complex
me
you
and
have.
Benny bumped heads the other day, since y'all want to know the real tea. Since I'm sure ain't interested enough according to the Atlanta demographic.
It was from Connecticut. But
So
carry on.
I had to cuss Benny the fuck out. What day was
You
that
did not
last
cuss
week?
me out.
We can run these damn audio messages right through this microphone. We're having a conversation about things that we want to improve and build upon within our unapologetic family, because that's what we are. And I'm just diplomatically speaking my piece. Benny jumps up in the goddamn group chat and goes, well, Patrice, you should just leave. I'm like,
No.
You can't
I
kick
did
me
not
out.
just say.
That's what the fuck happened.
I said, if you're not happy, I feel like, if anything, if you're not happy, just leave. And I said, if I'm in any situation, friendship, relationship, business, job, whatever, I said, if I'm not happy, when I get to a point where I'm not happy, that's when I leave.
But nobody ever said anything about not being happy. And that's where I said maybe perhaps because you've never had to be in situations that were long term where communicating with people, most people, if they're not happy with something, they just leave. They don't have a whole lot of rep for you. They don't have a whole lot of conversation. So it's natural that somebody, if they're actually bringing their concerns, conflicts to a group or to their partner or their business partner, whatever, it's because they care enough to want to salvage whatever is happening, to fix it so that they can move forward. That's what I don't understand. Like, and so we don't have a lot of time, so I'll let the other people who were privy to the whole situation have their, you know what I'm saying, have what they have to say. But my whole thing with us was that I don't feel like because we have an issue that means, well, we just shouldn't work together. You know what I'm saying? Just because we, you know what I'm saying, or we have concerns about something, then just throwing, you know what I'm saying, just walking away.
Oh,
I'm just passing it, because I know how much time we got.
I personally just feel like, it's four of us and we all play a major role in bringing this podcast together as well as other things. Like we got our Wednesday night. But because we're four different people, we all got four different things we're going through personally in life. And now it's like when we have conflict, sometimes, like, I feel like I understand everybody on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of like one of them people who can bring peace to any situation. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Benny was more a short fuse. It's like, man, I'm going through so much shit right now, and I don't want to deal with no negativity. So, like, don't bring negativity is what I felt like Benny was saying. Like, look, if you're not happy, leave. Like, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to. And I see Benny as that. Benny is short fuse on anything. He can't even focus on nothing for a long period of time. Like, Benny, and he's not just short in height. He's short in attention, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's what I got from it. But we all come together.
And Patrice, I love you to death. I didn't mean it like that. I don't know why the viewers know all 37 of them. All 37 of them, and 10 of them coming from Connecticut.
And don't you dare apologize on this motherfucker.
They're gonna hit Benny up this week and be like, "Damn, Benny, what's up with you and Patrice?"
We're creating some conflict so we can get some extra views. That's what it is. It's all scripted.
But I don't mean and maybe I need to learn. Like, maybe I need to learn something personal. I know we don't have something personal that I'm dealing with is commitment. And maybe I'm just thinking about what you said. Like, I just don't commit to a whole lot of things like that. But stuff that I'm committed to it. If that makes sense.
That's crazy because you just threw that all on us. You just said we don't think you commit, and you just said you have a problem.
Man, listen,
projecting, y'all. I'm telling you, I took enough psychology courses to know.
This been show 5 of Undivided. Y'all ain't got to be my therapist.
Nah, man. Hey, this has been another episode. To be honest with you, listen, I read that whole straight. I didn't take none of it serious. Like, granted, I was high and I was kind of in the fog in the days, but I didn't. I was like, these motherfuckers.
That nigga lied. That nigga was so messed up about the chat. He disappeared. That nigga disappeared.
Nah,
he wasn't nowhere to be fair by answering the phone. He might be smart.
I feel like this is what I took. This is what I took from this episode. Whenever you building something, Rome wasn't built in one day. Whenever you building something, it's gonna be conflicts. It's gonna be confrontations. But communication can see your way through it. That's what I took from that. No matter what, in the family, I love my family to death, but a lot of them I don't like. But at the end of the day, that's my family. I know they got my back. You know what I'm saying? So
we said all that to say, before Patrice goes out of town, we got a boxing match coming up. Benny versus Patrice.
I'm so down.
$10
Put
a piece.
your money
I'm
on
so down. It's gonna be a
jackpot.
Celebrity boxing match. I'm down.
Listen, your arms are too strong to box with God. You see this reach over there.
I'm like Dave Chappelle. Everybody lock up their phones. Everybody has to lock up their phones. No. They just gonna, y'all gonna figure out who won on Twitter.
Oh, plug the show tomorrow. Jackpot. Before we go.
So tomorrow and every Wednesday for that matter, Jackpot Bar and Grill right there off of Decatur and Flamingo. That's 4360 South Decatur. Doors open at 8. Show starts at 8:30. It's not just a comedy show. We do have comedians. We have musical artists. We have improv, game show, that type of thing. It's just it's just a night of entertainment, and we're gonna switch it up every time so you can come back every week. You know what I mean?
Never the same show twice.
Yeah, never the same show, so you
We
can
just
come back for more. That's
we just the gold travelers.
And we have special musical guests.
Huh?
Our musical guests.
Saucy Downs and 808.
Okay, that's
808.
Presley.
808
Presley.
Presley. My bad.
Check out their music. They on the up and coming. They
we don't
fantastic.
wrap this episode up. You gonna be in a boxing match in a minute.
Oh, conflict.
Conflict.
I ain't trying to put you.
Conflict that leads to no coochie.
I'm saying.
Y'all please pick up our t-shirts. We're gonna drop on Monday.
It's
gonna be a tag
t-shirts.
team match. Me and Patrice versus Benny and Jarreau, or vice versa, some kind of way.
Hey, I'm not fighting Jarreau.
I don't got nothing.
Jarreau with my ass.
Listen,
cop our t-shirts every week. We drop a t-shirt. #conflict and #bitch. You are the bad guy. That's
also, we still have Stop the Meals coming up.
Stop the Meals is definitely coming.
Yeah.
all right, y'all.
All right, this is
thank
fun.
y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching.
Subscribe.
Definitely hit that subscribe. It don't cost you nothing to hit that button.
Talk to him.
Yeah. Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.